Say that institution, Ukaipa private equity firm, is run by Ron Burkle, who's a longtime friend of the Clintons, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Major, thank you so much. Oh, you big time. One enormous venture, though, with which the Clintons are associated is called the Clinton Foundation, the funding of which is not clearly known. Could any of their income or expenses come from this organization? Our next guest has written about the Clinton Foundation in the conservative publication Human Events. He is Matthew Vadum of the Capital Research Center, joining us from D.C. So, Matthew, I know you've written about what the Clinton Foundation funds, a couple of $100 million in that foundation, but I'm more interested in where the money comes from for the foundation. Do you know?
We don't know much about where the money comes from for the Clinton Foundation. It's a charitable foundation, and it is not required to disclose its donors. And our concern at the think tank where I work, Capital Research Center here in D.C., is there a quid pro quo being promised in exchange for secret donations being given to the Clinton Foundation?
Part of the curiosity of all this is because there's a Canadian mining financier, Frank Gistra, who has traveled with former President Bill Clinton. And remember, Bill and Hillary share, they filed jointly. And he gave about $31 million, this Canadian mining financier, to the Clinton Foundation, and has apparently pledged a lot more than that in the future. So the question is, does he get anything in return? It might just be a charitable contribution.
That is entirely the question, and that's why we have to wonder. Now, the contribution, as I understand it, that Frank Gistra or Justra, or however you pronounce it, made to the Clinton Foundation came just after a visit that he and Bill Clinton personally made to the nation of Kazakhstan beside China. And then right soon after their visit, Frank Gistra magically, so it would seem, got this sweetheart deal with Kazatomprom, if that's how you pronounce it, the government uranium monopoly in the country of Kazakhstan.
And
you have to wonder about the timing of that. It's very suspicious.
I want to bring in Tracy Burns, because not only is she a wonderful human being, but she also happens to have been a CPA. So the question is, Tracy, if in fact the Clintons are pulling any money, maybe not cash in terms of something like a salary, but maybe living expenses from the Clinton Foundation, would that be legal or not?
Well, I think it depends on where the money, what the money is being used for. Are they using it for expenses that are towards the foundation? I mean, clearly there's a load of documentation that needs to be done.
Well, Matthew, according to your research, there are a number of different events and individuals who are funded by the Clinton Foundation. It all seems to add up. I mean, they're not just sitting on a lot of cash, right?
Well, what my co-author Deborah Corey Barnes and I found when we wrote the article that was in Human Events and in Foundation Watch, a Capital Research Center newsletter, was that the Clinton Foundation made a big deal out of wanting to protect the names of its donors, and then it went and it turned around and it sold the names of its donors to Vin Gupta, a longtime Clinton loyalist and Clinton donor who runs a direct marketing company. So their confidentiality was important until a check was involved.
Understood, and we've got to wrap it up. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. But Tracy, if in fact they are drawing any income at all from the Clinton Foundation, would that show up on their tax records quickly?
It should, because they should be documenting what they're using that income for based on the foundation's income.
Tracy Burns, Matthew Vadum, thank you so much for coming in, and of course our great thanks to Major Garrett for staying so late. We appreciate it to all. Coming up on deck, if you pay them, they will stop. A monetary incentive to stop foreclosed homeowners from trashing their homes. We'll explain next.